What's going on, everyone? UFC Saudi Arabia is this weekend. Robert Whittaker is taking on Ikram Aliskerov in the main event. I'm going to go through some of the fights on the card that I think are interesting and give you my thoughts on them. So let's just get into it. The first fight I want to talk about is Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Nicholas Dalby. This is a really fun matchup in the welterweight division. Nicholas Dalby, of course, last time out had that crazy upset over Gabriel Bonfim. Nobody was expecting him to win, but he was resilient and ended up getting the job done. Then you have Rinat Fakhretdinov. In his last matchup, he actually drew a guy, and he is one of these very interesting guys because he's so talented, he's so good, but for some reason he does struggle with lesser opponents. And I find it interesting because a lot of the other Dagestani fighters we see don't really have these issues. But this fight's interesting for me because I think it's two really good guys that are unranked and have a chance to prove themselves and get a chance in the top 15. So I think that Fakhretdinov, I would probably tip him to get the job done in this matchup just because I don't think he's as explosive as Bonfim was, and I don't think he's going to try and waste all of his energy early in the fight like Bonfim did, and he's going to be able to stand with Nicholas Dalby a little bit more. Dalby's good, he's durable, but he does still have weaknesses in his game, and he was getting dominated by Bonfim until Bonfim gassed out and he got the job done. So give me Rinat Fakhretdinov in this matchup, but it's a really compelling fight that I'm super excited for, honestly. So next up, we have Sharabullet Magomedov, and he has had a third new opponent for this fight. The new opponent is Adam Tricoli. Never heard of this guy. He's a new guy Dana just announced. He said that he's coming in for this fight on 3 days notice, so props to him. But Sharabullet Magomedov, of course, this is the reason why I'm interested in this matchup. This guy's a beast. He literally looks like a cyborg. I mean, he's awesome looking, man. He's awesome looking. He's a really great fighter. He does have issues on the ground that I think when he faces higher opponents, he's going to struggle with. But against these guys, honestly, with all due respect, I think Shara is going to run through him. But it's going to be interesting to see him do so either way. And I think his stardom could actually grow a lot. But he's got to be able to start fighting in the USA too. Then onto the main card, we have Kelvin Gastelum taking on Daniel Rodriguez. Rodriguez was actually booted from the UFC a few months back after he tested positive for doping. So interesting to see that he's back, but he's taking on Kelvin Gastelum, who I don't really know what Gastelum is at this point in his career. I don't know what his ambition is. I don't know what division is his best, because this fight was actually supposed to be happening at 170 pounds, but it's just been announced that it will be happening at 185 because Kelvin Gastelum can't make the weight. So I think that's interesting. In terms of how these two match up against each other, I think it's going to be a striking match, to be honest with you. I think they're going to trade back and forth, see who has the heavier blows. I think Rodriguez is the more crisp boxer on the feet, but I think Gastelum's going to have a little bit more power. And honestly, D-Rod's had a big layoff. I'm going to take Kelvin Gastelum to win this fight. That might be completely wrong, but I think he does stand a really good chance here against a guy that just doesn't seem to be too active at all. Give me Kelvin Gastelum in this one. Then next up, we have Johnny Walker taking on Volkan Ozdemir. A fun matchup in the light heavyweight division. It's honestly tough to pick Johnny Walker to win fights at this point because every time I do, he seems to lose. Last time against Ankalaev, just not a good showing whatsoever. I don't really know if Johnny Walker is going to be able to reach championship status in his career. It seems harsh, but honestly, the way he performs against these top-level guys, it really makes me wonder if he can do it. In this fight against Volkan Ozdemir, another guy who is just kind of stale, to be honest, kind of just sitting in the division. You don't really know what's going to happen with him. I think that this fight could go really either way. This is a 50-50 matchup for me. I'm going to back Volkan Ozdemir because, honestly, Johnny Walker, he hasn't given me any hope in these recent fights, and I think that against a guy like Ozdemir, it's going to be similar. If he can't take him out early, Ozdemir is just going to end up drowning him eventually and probably knocking him out. So give me Ozdemir in this matchup, but it should be fun either way. Now on to the co-main event, which might be my favorite fight on this entire card, to be honest. Sergey Pavlovich is back against Alexander Volkov, a clash of Russian heavyweights. These guys are actually friends in real life too, so it sucks they have to fight each other, but it's a fight game, man. It's how it goes. So in this matchup, I would probably say it's probably going to be Sergey Pavlovich. I mean, he's destroyed everybody. He's ran through everybody except for Tom Aspinall, but Tom Aspinall is the best heavyweight in the world, so that makes sense. I don't think that loss is really going to bug him too much either. I don't think that's going to knock him off his stride. Volkov has looked good recently. He's on a bit of a win streak. Just submitted Tai Tuivasa. So maybe he does stand a better chance than I'm giving him in this fight. I think he is the bigger guy. He has wrestling as well. I don't know. This could be interesting, but something I see a lot with Volkov is he likes getting hit for some reason. Like, he wants people to put on pressure for him to throw back and counter, but you can't let a guy like Sergey Pavlovich do that. You let that guy start teeing off on you, you're going to sleep. That's a guarantee. Give me Sergey Pavlovich in this one. I think he will obviously get the TKO. First round I could see, maybe second round, but either way I'm confident in Pavlovich to get a knockout. And that brings me on to the main event, of course, Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov, which was Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, if this fight was happening right now, my excitement levels would just be through the roof, but it's not. So we have this matchup instead. I mean, Robert Whittaker, say what you want about Whittaker, he is probably a top 5 middleweight of all time. I mean, what this guy has done in the division, he's fought in everybody, he's beaten so many good guys, and he's still very good. He hasn't really lost too much. I think that the DDP loss did throw him off a bit because it kind of pushed him away from the title even more. They were never going to give him the Adesanya quadrilogy, and they were never going to give him another chance against DDP after he just lost. So, I mean, it's really a tough situation for Robert Whittaker. He's kind of fighting right now with no chance at a belt. So, there's a lot for him to lose here, not a ton to gain, and he is a really dangerous guy across from him. Ikram Aliskerov has won every fight in his career besides his fight with Khamzat Chimaev. This guy is an absolute beast. He knocks people out for fun, and I think he does stand a chance in this matchup against Whittaker. This technically is a short notice fight, but Ikram was training anyways. He was in a training camp. He had a fight booked last weekend, so he just got pulled from that and thrown against Whittaker, and he's had about probably like a week and a half to prepare for him realistically. This is going to be a big jump. He's never fought a guy this good as Robert Whittaker is, so that's also another thing to look at. But the thing with Whittaker is he's chinny. There is a chance that Ikram could catch him on the chin. I could see it happening because his striking is good enough, and he might just clip Rob and sit him down. I don't think this is going to go to the ground much, to be honest. I think both these guys are going to favor standing on the feet in this matchup. So, I don't know. I honestly think it's really, really close. I'm going to back Robert Whittaker to get it done because of the experience, because he was already in a training camp ready for this fight. So, I think I am going to back Robert Whittaker. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ikram got a job done, though. I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence, really, with this one. But I'm going to back Robert Whittaker. That's going to be my official pick. It's going to be a really fun fight. I think this isn't a horrible replacement. I think Ikram will step in and fill in and will create a very fun fight. Also, another thing to remember, too, that Ikram, when he was training for his fight last weekend, it was in Vegas. This fight's in Saudi Arabia. Your body gets adapted to the time zones, and I think if he has to fight now in Saudi Arabia, it's a crazy difference from Vegas time. So I don't know, is that also going to play a factor in this? It could. So even more of a reason to take Robert Whittaker. But there you guys have it. Those are my thoughts on the fights coming up for UFC Saudi Arabia. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for this card? I think this is an excellent non-pay-per-view event. Honestly, better than a pay-per-view we've gotten this year. So, yeah, I'm excited for this. Let me know down below if you guys are too. Drop your picks down there as well. I want to thank you all for watching another one of these videos, and I'll see you in the next one.